And I am alive, talking about the end of the era of Daniel Craig James Bond, or the end of the Daniel Craig era of James Bond. Yeah, I just repeated myself. Anyhow, let's talk about Spectre and No Time to Die. These two movies are quite bad, if you ask me. It's unfortunate because I adore Casino Royale and Skyfall. I think consensus on these two movies is quite high. People enjoy these two. But then people mention the other James Bond in that era and they are like, not so great. And I cannot blame anyone because I am in that bandwagon. Maybe we will have someone else joining at some point, and I am very sorry about being late to the party because usually it's a 5 p.m. Eastern time show, and now it's almost 5:10. Um, anyhow, I guess while we wait for maybe others to hop in, let's get into the wiki page of these two James Bond movies. Starting with Spectre, the movie that should have ended this era of James Bond movies. There we go. Well. What do we have here? Spectre, a 2015 movie, a spy thriller directed by Sam Mendes, screenplay by John Logan, Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, Jess Butterworth, story by John Logan, Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, based on James Bond by Ian Fleming, produced by Michael J. Wilson, Barbara Broccoli, starring Daniel Craig as James Bond, Christopher Waltz as I forgot who, Leah Seydoux. I think Leah is the new Bond girl that will stick around for the next one as well, but I'm not quite sure. Ben Whishaw, I don't know who that person is. Naomi Harris, I also don't know who that person is. Dave Bautista, the one of the bad guys in that movie, I do remember that. Monica Bellucci, I can't remember that person. Ralph Fiennes, I also don't remember these persons. So there's a trend there. I can't remember most of these people that appeared in the movie. I only remember two and a half. That's unfortunate. Cinematography by Oit van Oitema. Edited by Lee Smith. Music by Thomas Newman. Production companies: Eon Production, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, Columbia Picture, B24, Dan Jack. Distributed by Sony Picture Releasing. Release date: October 26, 2015 in the UK, and November 6, 2015 in the USA. Running time: 148 minutes. That's quite long, I won't lie. Countries: UK, USA. Language: English. Budget: 245 million to 300 million. Box office: 880 million. So that movie brought money on the table. People were kind of on board, I guess, with it. Um, I think maybe question mark. I don't know. Um, but all I know is I will disagree with people that actually enjoyed it because I didn't, and I will have a longer review in not so long. So um, this is the wiki page. It did money again. Um, we have bad movies that made money. And I will also say that I really feel like Spectre should have ended that saga, that story with Daniel Craig. No Time to Die didn't feel justified by any mean. Um, and I will keep the Rottentomato section for once we get the guest. If the guest shows up, if he doesn't, well, I will be alone covering that Rottentomato segment. So let's take out that screen share, and I guess now I will deep dive dive deep into why I think Spectre sucks. Spectre's had a lot of great ideas. It felt like closure. It felt like the end of Daniel Craig James Bond, but it wasn't because they decided to do No Time to Die. But yeah, Spectre. What went wrong with Spectre? I have so many reasons. So let's get into it. My first issue with Spectre. Well, actually, just before we do the entire review, let's go over the plot. Okay, some of you may know it, but let's get into it. Plot: MI6 agent James Bond goes in a personal vendetta to avenge the fallen M. That was not only his previous boss, but a mother figure as well. When MI6 are in hot waters with the government and the idea of a new world order, the Double O program that Bond was part of became in jeopardy, making the new M forced to bench James Bond. James Bond decides to investigate in a clandestine way the organization Spectre. So that's the plot of Spectre. Quite interesting and different from the average James Bond because he is a spy without any support, and that's a very interesting idea. So let's get into my issues with Spectre. As much as early in the movie, that was a nice background with cool things. The first 5 minutes dragged on for quite some time. Again, the visual were kind of fine, but the start of that movie took way too long. My second issue: people could not aim. That's a trope in the James Bond franchise. My third issue: contrived timing with the arrival and kidnapping of the girl. Easy fix: show Spectre agent falling or telling Bond for quite some time instead of giving it away through lazy exposition dump. The fourth issue: telling over showing the gun accident. My fifth issue: forgettable and weak main villain, and that's a trope with these later Craig era villains. My sixth issue: bad aiming during the escape of the Spectre base. My final issue with Spectre: more bad pacing throughout the movie. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they were thinking. That movie took way too long. To pain and suffering. It's 2 hours and a half. I think it's one of the longest James Bond, and it doesn't feel justified at all. It doesn't. I'm sorry. Like, you can have the best visual in the world, but like, if your movies suck, your movies suck. I'm sorry, folks. That's how I feel. Again, I really like Skyfall in Casino Royale. They are masterpiece in every aspect. These are amazing movie, and I also stand by Kingdom of Solace, which is a decent sequel to Casino Royale. But I cannot stand by Spectre. I just can't because Spectre just sucks. Anyway, I may sound overly negative, but Spectre had decent aspect to it, and I say decent because I mean it's my second least favorite James Bond. So yes, I think No Time to Die is slightly above that, but yeah, the action was quite entertaining. The idea of Spectre being behind everything bad that happened to James Bond was kind of cool. I liked it. James Bond growth into not ending lives anymore was fun. Great closure, right? But then No Time to Die happened. The Bond girl overcoming the hatred toward gun uh, through her life being in danger was kind of okay. Dave Batista henchman was kind of fun. Nice music. The characters, villain aside, were okay. The reveal of C betrayal was kind of cool. So we have a big betrayal. This is what happens. So again, Spectre, not so great. And I will give to Spectre a quite weak grade because that's how I feel. 5 out of 10. I think Spectre could have ended the Bond under Daniel Craig on a decent way. Again, it could have ended in a decent way. Is it great? I don't think so. I thought Skyfall was far better. Uh, it should have been the ending, maybe question mark. But again, Spectre overall is not a great movie. I don't like it. I told you the why, the reasons, the pacing. The pacing is the silver bullet against that movie. It's the longest Bond movie, and it doesn't feel justified as at all. It doesn't feel justified as at all. I don't know what's going on with me tonight. My brain is just glitching. Um, so I guess that's how I feel, and we will keep the Rotten Tomato segment for a bit later if our guest decides to show up at some point. If he doesn't, then that's the final segment of that stream. Now, no time to die. This is the next segment of this stream. No Time to Die, not a big fan either. I think it was a slightly better movie than Spectre, but a far worse ending. I think it just undermined anything that happened in Spectre just because they wanted more money. I don't know. So let's get into it. The massive disappointment, the big ending of that franchise. Okay, well, let's get into it. Directed by Kerry Jolie Fukunaga. Screenplay by Neil Purvis. Robert Wade. Kerry Jolie Fukunaga. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Okay, she was involved. Story by Neil Purvis. Robert Wade. Kerry Jolie Fukunaga. Based on James Bond by Ian Fleming. Produced by Michael J. Wilson, Barbara Broccoli. Starring Daniel Craig as James Bond, Rami Malek as one of the bad guys, Leah Seydoux, I believe that's the Bond girl, Lashana Lynch, the wannabe new James Bond, but not James Bond. Ben Whishaw, I can't remember. Naomi Harris, I can't remember. Jeffrey Wright, I can't remember. Christoph Waltz and Ralph Fiennes. Well. It is unfortunate, but this is what we have. Okay. Cinematography, Linus Sandgren. Edited by Graham. Up was Tom Cross. Music by and Metro Goldwyn Mayer is production alongside Ian Production. Edited by United and Universal. Release date September 28th. Well. The running time was actually longer with that one. Shocker. I forgot that movie was longer than Spectre. And it also did less money. I'm not surprised about these details. So movies are from the countries of the UK and the USA, and I'm kind of distracted by something. Yeah. Um, I'm not in my A game right now. But yeah, the movie did money again. It did money. Therefore, the franchise has a future. It's kind of bleak because we had two bad movies in a row. Hopefully, Denis Villeneuve is doing something great next time around. I will send him back the link. There we go. Boom. We had a link issue here. So, again, that movie not so great. It left a very bad taste, and I will be honest, I'm a big fan of James Bond. I liked most of the James Bond movie. Out of the 26, I'd say I liked at least 20 of them, and 6 of them were like Yeah, no, no thanks. I didn't like it. And even there, like among these six, I know there's one very bad movie, like Die Another Day. I think is a terrible movie, but I liked it a lot. But it's just a straight up terrible movie. Um, Hopefully now the link works. Hopefully we have someone joining in a moment. But No Time to Die is the sequel we didn't need, we didn't ask, and they gave it to us because Hollywood does that all the time. It's unfortunate. It's disgusting. Um, it's sad. So we have some technical issues. I try to have the guests on. Uh, so we are trying to get that thing figured out. Um, anyway, No Time to Die was a disappointment. Um, and I will be honest, as much as I think it's a slightly better movie than Spectre, I think Spectre had more memorable visual. One of the few things I do remember about No Time to Die is the snowy parts, but even there, I'm not like shocked by the visual or anything. Well, Spectre, as much as Spectre sucked, the visual were kind of nice. Um, yeah, not so great. We are experiencing issues right now trying to get someone on the show. Anyway, No Time to Die was a mistake. They shouldn't have done it, but they did. And that goes back to what I mentioned. Hollywood gives us sequel we never asked for, and this is what we get. And I've looked around, and many people didn't like it. Oh, we got someone in the comments here. Welcome to the show. Not the brightest show out there, but now it just looks like spam. So I think I will do something about that. Okay. Um, I will time out that person if I can find the stream. But yeah, so I'm excited about the Denis Villeneuve take on that. Um, Hopefully it will be great. And there we go. I will remove. There we go. Well, hi Ismail, welcome to the show. I was dealing with the what just join, man. We are live right now. I click the link. Yeah, click the link on the chat. Yeah. So we have Sammy jumping in, and he's coming now. Um, After a few minutes of struggle with uh dealing with that. Uh, are you able to click the link now? There we go. There we go. Okay, now we can end the Discord call, and you are here. There we go. After like 10 minutes of struggles, welcome to the show. I was basically complaining about No Time to Die because I was there in the discussion now. But now that you're there, I will ask you this before we speak about Spectre and No Time to Die. I will ask you that because you were not there in the last time we talked about James Bond. What did you think of Skyfall?
It,
Just briefly, shortly. What did you think of Skyfall? What did you think of Casino Royale? And what did you think of Quantum of Solace?
Okay, I'll go in order. So, Casino Royale is a pretty good film. It's a solid origin story. Uh, it works very well by introducing Bond to a new audience with a new actor, even though it was kind of early because Borsman literally like ended in 2002. I thought it was well crafted and well made, and it's a fun action film. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just really great. Then, Quantum of Solace is kind of fucking messy. I just don't get what's happening the whole time. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like Michael Bay would have done a James Bond film. That would have felt that what it would have felt like. I was like, what the hell is going on? And Mark Foster mentioned that a lot of script changed because of the writer's strike happened, so he explained. But I didn't. I think it's the worst James Bond of the whole five films. And then Skyfall is a masterpiece. It's amazing. It's like for a blockbuster film, it's solid. It has great character works. Javier Bardem is amazing as a villain, and Bond's development was just great. Like Sam Mendes in this film, he just nailed it James Bond better than I think anybody could ever did. So yeah, that's my resume on the James Bond trilogy.
Amazing. So now I will ask you this: what did you think of Spectre after watching these three movies that were up and down in the franchise? What did you think of Spectre?
You know what? It was pretty fun. It was, if I remember correctly, it was pretty good. The you know it felt more like another Bond story than a necessary one, but it wasn't bad. Like because it, they were linking the villain and stuff, and Christopher Waltz was behind everybody. I didn't think they needed to do that. I think you just make the world smarter. I don't think everybody is needs to always be connected. It's not the MCU, right? And but
Agreed.
overall, I think it was pretty good, pretty fun. Um, I think that's what Quantum of Solace should have been like, because at least there's a structure and there's a story. It's not better than Skyfall, but it doesn't mean it's bad. So yeah.
Why would you say Quantum of Solace would be better than? Where do you think Spectre did the thing better than Quantum of Solace? What's your thought process behind? I prefer Spectre than Quantum of Solace.
Well, simply because it had time to breathe and it had time to tell a story. If I remember correctly, he was against the Syndicate, and he was fighting against Blobfield, and there was a clear villain. He was as well written as what do you ca- I forget the name of, but the villain of Blobfield, not Blobfield, but yeah, not Blobfield. The villain of the third film, Skyfall. I never remember his name, but
Silva, da Silva,
Silva.
da Silva.
Silva. Okay, yeah, exactly, Silva. You know, it wasn't as well written as him, but at least we had a clear antagonist that had clear motive. He wasn't like ambiguous or unclear like Matthew American, the second one. So I think had they done something like this, Quantum of Solace would have been better because it's not a perfect film, but it has a clear narrative. This is the only reason why I think it's better. And the filmmaking of Mendes is also better. There's Deacon cinematography too. You know, yeah. And
What
Lea
would be
Seydoux too. Their chemistry were great.
your grade out of 10 for Spectre?
Um, maybe 8.3. Yeah, 8.3 on that. My grade aren't rated the same way as people in general, but I would give it like an 8.3. Like it's not perfect, but it works a lot better than other action films. You know.
That's very nice because we are very different on that one. I had given a 5 to Spectre. I don't like Spectre. It's I think Spectre gives a better ending than No Time to Die, but I think overall as a movie it's worse than No Time to Die in my books, and it's my second least favorite James Bond. It's way down the bottom.
Mm.
So now that we know your grade out of 10 for Spectre, I will ask you, what would be your grade out of 10 for Casino Royale?
I think Casino Royale would be 8.5, uh,
Interesting.
and Skyfall will be 8.8, and Quantum of Solace will be 6.10.
Oh, you see, I had given Quantum of Solace a 7. Um,
That's fair.
I I thought it was fine. It's somewhere in the lower half of the movies for me, but there are worse. There are worse movies out there. So now that we talked about the first four James Bond, we now dive deep into No Time to Die. What did you think of No Time to Die?
Honestly, it's gonna be really controversial what I'm gonna say here. So prepare, and let me know. Send me the comment of people because I want to see their opinion. I don't know if you have a lot of people who comment, but send it to me. But
We will go through the Rotten Tomato after that, so we
okay,
see what people think about these movies.
okay. So I think this is one of the best blockbuster climax and ending we had since The Dark Knight Rises, and I think it's also as an action saga with Lord of the Rings, Revenge of the Sith, and Final Reckoning, which I think was also great. So I think as a conclusion, it was great because compared to Marvel, hi Feige, they understood how to close Bond's story, and it just made sense the way they ended it. I thought I thought it was great because okay, people don't think Bond should die, but why shouldn't he? You know, that humanizes it a bit more, and because of that, the film became a bit iconic. It's not as memorable as maybe other entries, but I thought as an ending it was effective. Then the flaws of this film is Seven, which I think sucks as a villain. I think that was a mistake. I love Harry Manic, but it didn't cut it. I think the film works because of Bond. It doesn't work because of his end. You know, usually Bond movie works because of his villains. Now it works because of him, which I thought was pretty special. And his relationship with the white girl. What's her name again?
I will be honest, I don't remember. We that's one of the big issues I think with the Daniel Craig era movies. You only remember about the first chick.
Oh yeah, well, of course, but Viper,
Vesper.
yeah,
You only
classic.
remember Vesper. You don't remember the others after.
Yeah, yeah, no, maybe, yeah, but because yeah, Seydoux was pretty, I was there like for two films, so she was important, you know. Um, but yeah, her character, us one, that was fun. Yeah, she was also
I only
well.
remember she doesn't like guns. That's all I remember.
So yeah, you know, I thought it was well made for a climax. I didn't think they fumbled the bag. I think they just fumbled it for for Savin. You know, that was the only reason. The rest, it works for me.
Amazing. So, do you want to add anything else on No Time to Die? Well,
Mm,
okay. Now I will roast the crap out of it because I ate that movie. Um,
you do
it's
why?
I there are so many things wrong. I feel like it undermined Spectre. I wasn't the biggest fan of Spectre. I think Spectre had so many issues. Uh but like they tried to redo another ending for James Bond. I didn't like that ending. Um it kind of makes sense because it's a dark path to be a double O and to take lives and such, but it just bothers me because I feel like Spectre had a very nice ending with James Bond sparing the bad guy and going against like his motto to take lives, and that's
Hmm.
very interesting as a character arc and as an ending. But what we get with No Time to Die, we get someone that's better than James Bond, and the end result, James Bond dies. Amazing. Um,
Yeah.
it's I had so many issues with that movie. So let's get into the issues I had with No Time to Die. I thought pacing was horrendous. Early in the movie, everything took forever, and I was complaining about the same thing with Spectre. I really think these two movies, Spectre and No Time to Die, they have pretty much the same issues. It's just that one is more dreadful to get through. As simple
Yeah.
as that. Um,
Well, I think had they ended it with Skyfall, it would have been perfect. I don't think
I
we
agree with
needed.
you.
I don't think we needed other films. Like it
I
was
agree with
perfect.
you. I agree 100% with you. And I also think Daniel Craig was kind of done with the role. He was like, yeah, just delete me so we end with this charade. And that's why they ended up like ending James Bond life because uh, the actor was done. You can tell Daniel Craig was tired of the role. Um, it's obvious at that point, many years after that. It was by design. He was tired. Anyway, my second issue with No Time to Die: plot armor, bomb near Bond blowing up, and Bond was mostly unscathed. To top that, shooters couldn't aim on the bridge. The third issue: awful aiming in the drawn out and very long firefight near the bar, especially from the bad guys being numerous and none of them could injure any of the good guys.
No,
Where
yeah,
did they hire these mercenaries?
yeah.
It's like, bruh, nobody can hit anything. Like, why do you hire them? You know, like, um, the main bad guy was forgettable,
No,
and
no,
that's
no.
unfortunate because I think the last bad guy we had that was actually very good was Silva in Skyfall. It was amazing. So what happened after? I don't know. That's a mystery of life. Um, my next issue with No Time to Die:
Hmm.
more unbelievable bad aiming in big firefight. More bad aiming. So I was rolling my eyes. Most of the action is like everyone shoot everything, nothing gets it. Magic happens.
Hmm.
Uh, so again, I think that movie is slightly above Spectre, and I was overly negative. But let's bring up some of the good aspect that were enjoyable for me. Um, the opening sequence was very fun. The music was great. The action was okay. The car stuff was always fun. The intro was enjoyable. The action was entertaining.
Hmm.
And James Bond being retired at some point made sense. And Blowfield in jail was kind of cool. Again, the action keeps coming back and being good aspects. And there was a nice theme of legacy for James Bond. And
Hmm.
Bond being stuck in the past thinking about Vesper was kind of sad, but it also made sense because that was the only good Bond girl in his era. James Bond that was kind of emotional. I won't lie, it was kind of sad. And just like the other Bond, the one liners were great. So overall, I found this movie far more enjoyable than Spectre. I think it's a superior movie, but it doesn't say much about what I believe was rock bottom for the franchise. Alongside Die Another Day, these two are awful. Anyway, I guess I don't have a lot more to say. I think No Time to Die uh, ruined the good ending of Spectre because I think Spectre, bottom line, it's a bad movie, but with a good ending that gave good closure to the character in the saga. And then No Time to Die just ruined everything. That's how I feel. So I guess. Do you want to add anything else on No Time to Die before we read some comments online about what people think of these two James Bond movie?
Honestly, no. I think it's pretty clear. I said what I said about that. You can go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What would be your grade out of 10 for No Time to Die?
Well, mm, I guess the same as Spectre with 8.3.
That's interesting. So my grade out of 10 is slightly above uh, Spectre, being a 5.5 out of 10 instead of 5. Just
Oh
point
my.
5 higher. And I think the biggest reason is the pacing. I thought was slightly better. I just thought Spectre took forever. I strongly believe Spectre could have been like half an hour to 45 minutes shorter. That's how I feel about that one. And when it comes to No Time to Die, maybe it's just half an hour is enough instead of
Mm,
like 45 minute could be taken out, and I think one of the factors why I like Quantum of Solace so more, or so much more, I should say, is the pacing. I thought that was a much faster movie. I just like it when I can watch a movie under 2 hours. If it takes longer, you better be good. Um, so now, this is the Rotten Tomato segment. I will be screen sharing the comments of some of the people, and we will react to that. We will give our thoughts. Do we agree with what people will say about these movies? Let's get into it. Spectre, there we go. We are
let's
lucky there aren't that many Spectre out there. So from the get go, we are here, and we got commercial as usual. There we go. So I will ask you this: what do you think of these scores? 63% for the critic and the audience. Do you think it's understandable? Do you think it's fitting, or do you think people are too harsh on the movie?
I think it's pretty fair because that's what I would have give this percentage myself if I was writing in Rotten Tomato.
Amazing. So, a cryptic message from the past leads James Bond to Mexico City and Rome, where he meets the beautiful widow Monica something.
Monica Bellucci.
Oh, okay. He knows it. He knows it. So, critic consensus: Spectre nudges Daniel Craig rebooted Bond closer to the glorious action-driven spectacle of earlier entries. Although it's admittedly reliant on established 007 formula. So, this is the consensus. This is what people were thinking. Do you agree with that consensus?
Sorry. Yeah, yeah, because just like a friend of mine said, it's a return to roots. I haven't seen the older James Bond, but I'm assuming that they felt like this, tonally speaking. Because, like I told you, it felt like another Bond journey. It didn't feel like a logical sequel.
So to piggyback on your comment, I will ask you this: outside of Daniel Craig, what other actors have you followed through the years for James Bond?
It's the only saga of Bond that I've seen. I didn't have the chance to see the rest yet, but I want to watch like the Borsman one eventually.
Oh, okay,
In
okay,
Connery.
that's interesting. So I will tell you this from the get go, as a big James Bond fan that seen all 26 and that enjoyed most of them. Um, Daniel Craig is the most different one with the most connected story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you look back, it's very episodic in the other entries and the other actors.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sin Connery in the 60s and 70s had some connected stories, but it
Mm-hmm.
was mostly like one off. Like there's that big James Bond adventure, and there's that one. Same for Roger Moore in the 70s to the 80s. Um, and it's really something interesting. So yeah, let's continue with the Rotten Tomato comments. Always interesting to read these. The first critique being Navatara Joshi the Hindu. A rotten score. Perhaps it's my own fatigue with the Bond franchise and the knowledge of exactly where it will go and how things will turn out. That makes the old fashioned and nicely campy Spectre not as griping a ride as others. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, I no, because it's really subjective. It's not about if she think Bond is a good film. It's her own opinion. No fucking nobody fucking cares. We want to know is the movie is good or not. We don't care if you're tired of Bond. It's my own fatigue, but
That's
uh,
interesting. I
that for
like
me
that.
that's irrelevant.
I like that reply. So again, she didn't like it. So the next comment, Sarah Michelle Feder, moviefreak.com, with another rotten score, 2 out of 4. It is as tired retread that offers little new or original, taking 007 to the places arguably never been before. Irrelevance.
It's
That's harsh.
I can't deny she isn't. Oh, sorry. Désolé. I can't deny she isn't wrong. She isn't wrong. Because if she was, I'll be lying to myself. But that doesn't mean the film is bad. But it's true. The movie itself is good. But honestly, it should have shown the consequence of Spectre, of Sylvia trying to expose the MI6, you know. But it's like nothing happened. While Skyfall was kind of the Captain America, the Winter Soldier of James Bond, you know. It showed how the inside was rotten. So we should have seen the consequences of that. Maybe I'm stretching it, but I think they should have done that. That would have been so interesting. Like a new division in the UK arrive where they want to eliminate every agent that were corrupt since Silva exposed them or something, you know. But just that's just me, you know.
I feel you, man. So coming next, we read the next two critique and then we will go to the audience. So the next critique being Max Weiss, Baltimore Magazine, with another rotten score, 2 out of 4. Daniel Craig recently said that he'd rather end himself than do another Bond film, and Spectre uh, his misery shows. So that goes back to what I said. Like the guy was done with the role and he just took the paycheck and then they asked him, will he come back for No Time to Die? But how do you feel about that?
I don't. For me, it's she that person just wrote that review to hate. So we're relevant again. Just bye.
Okay, okay, interesting. So coming next, we got another rotten score with a 5 out of 10. Those looking for a classic adventure from the most famous agent will gag from this mishmash of explosion and speed, but those of us who want all this to serve to tell something more will be bitterly disappointed. From John Puiglo Pritley's, I butchered the name. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. Yes, because it's true. Like if you're a fan of Bond, you'll be biased. If you're a fan of films, you'll be disappointed. So yeah, it's yes. She isn't. He isn't wrong, but at the same time, I'm not sure I agree. But he isn't wrong. Doesn't mean I agree.
That's interesting. I like that take. So now let's go to the audience about Spectre. What did the audience think? Oh, the audience liked it, starting with Frank Smith with a 9 out of 10 or a 4 stars and a half. The technology is amazing, acting exceptionally good and absorbing. We were griping the edge of our seat.
Don't
I
forget I got a
strongly
DR
disagree with everything, but I will let you go on that one.
Look, honestly, anybody who only talk about visual, for me, I don't trust him. Like, okay, the technology can be great, but what about the rest? And acting, okay, of course, acting is good. It's a franchise with the best actors that's signed to do a Bond film. Of course, it's gonna be good. You know, you can't fail at that. And I don't know. For me, this is an irrelevant take. The review, the other one, please.
Okay. Well, coming next, Joe and Co. with a 4 stars out of 5, so that'd be an 8 out of 10. Very enjoyable, was one of the best Bond movies we have seen for the first two thirds. Then it became very much boring.
Oh yeah, I don't know. But I remember it was entertaining the whole time. It wasn't boring. Don't forget, I gotta be out at 6.
Yeah, we are almost done here. The next one, oh my, that one hated that movie like no one else before. That person gave a 1 star out of 5, so that'd be like 2 out of 10. I fell asleep while watching it twice.
It wasn't boring.
Savage!
It wasn't.
Savage!
It wasn't
That
boring.
was savage. The person fell to sleep twice, not once, twice.
It wasn't
It's like
boring.
the biggest roast.
I don't know. I don't. I didn't think it was boring, but to each his own. I guess to each his own.
Yeah. Romas M is the next comment with 8 out of 10. Greeting from Lithuania. Spectre is an entertaining Bond movie, a solid and sometimes great follow up to Skyfall.
Uh, I didn't get the ending. What did he say?
It's a great sequel. It's a great follow up to Skyfall.
Um, like I said, why don't I feel like every time I watch it, I don't feel like it's a sequel. I just feel like it's another genre. Am I crazy? Because did you feel like that too? Like I don't feel like it's a proper like it's gonna sound weird, but Spectre and Time No Time to Die is a one story cut of two, but Skyfall on its own you can watch it alone and you won't even feel like it's opening the door to Spectre.
I
So
agree with you.
for me,
I
it doesn't
I
feel like a sequel.
I think Skyfall is a great ending, and I think Spectre tried to make another great ending, but they kind of failed. So now we will try to speed through No Time to Die because we covered most comments about uh, Spectre.
Yeah,
So there we go. Uh, no time to No Time to Die at No
yeah.
Time to Die.
I'm pretty sure the review must be worse because I remember back in the days, it wasn't like the review. Oh, 83%. I'm kind of surprised.
Overall, people liked it more. I'm also
Hmm.
surprised. Well, that's something.
If I remember correctly, fans hated it back then, and I was the only one who liked it. I was like, it's pretty. I thought I know I liked it, but is it me or is it the same thing every time there's a final story? Like people need to hate it. Well, even
I don't
final.
know. Like, I back then years ago, last time I had seen the Dark Knight trilogy, I liked the last one very
Yeah,
much,
me too.
but it's far in my memory, so I need a refresher. We will actually cover that in the summer at some point, but yeah, so let's get into that one. Critic consensus. It isn't the sleekest or most daring uh 007 adventure, but No Time to Die concludes Daniel Craig franchise tenure in satisfying style. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it is. It does. It does. It's a good ending. Like I said, I thought it was the best ending I've seen of an IP saga since Dark Knight Rises. And I don't say that a lot. I didn't felt that with Endgame. Can you imagine? But I felt that with that. And Endgame is supposed to be in conclusion, but it was like uh, two conclusion out of 10, and now they both coming back. So it wasn't a conclusion at all. But this was a true ending.
So the next up is Audience Says. It's a very long and packed with plot, but No Time to Die says goodbye to Daniel Craig Bond with all the action and excitement franchise fans expect.
That's also true.
I agree. So the first critique is also, or I should say, is already more positive about that movie than Spectre. So Christina Newland, this film is a obsessed both by its characters' personal histories and by its own, but it really soars when it is smartly combining the old with the new. And that's a 8 out of 10. Do you agree it's combining well the old and the new?
Um, in a way, yeah, because they introduced two new agents, and then they made us remember that Bond is still Bond at the end. Nobody can replace him. I like that. Anna Diarma's cameo was also great. I wish she was there more because she's a badass. So yeah, no, I think yeah, I agree with that take because it didn't felt like it was passing the torch. but you knew the world is gonna continue living while Bond died. So yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Next up, Sandra Oh in the Morning Herald with another 8 out of 10. With his long upper lip and reluctance to crack a smile, Daniel Craig could have made his mark as the old grumpy Bond, but the pulsing intelligence behind the gloom has transformed it into a gravitas. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. He doesn't sound like Harrison Ford, Dan Jones, which was terrible by the way, the last one. But yeah,
I hated that one as well. 7 out of 10 for Welly Mai. No Time to Die on balance is a kinetic, expensive, and steering capstone to Craig's adventure in those perfectly tailored Tom Ford suits. Do you agree with that?
um, I don't understand what she meant. Honestly, I'm just like, okay, what do you mean? I mean, who
She
cares?
is basically saying it's a fast-paced movie that's also classy.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, I guess I agree. It's just, well, yeah, I guess it is. In
Six
this,
out of 10 for Emilio Bazile. No Time to Die is well shot with action scenes that inject vertigo and adrenaline into a sprawling narrative and build the epic tale of James Bond playing his last cards.
true, that's true.
Well, we go to the audience now. Teresa with another 8 out of 10. I still prefer Pierce Brosnan, My Age of James Bond, Shameless Plug, Matthew McKinnon. Um, I prefer Daniel Craig to be honest. I think Pierce Brosnan left a bigger mark, but just
Mhm.
because Daniel Craig had Skyfall and Casino Royale, I think it trumps most of the other Bond actor. And I in the Pierce Brosnan era, there's only one James Bond I hated, and that's the last one Pierce Brosnan had. But even there, I actually liked the movie, but I thought that was a terrible movie. That's like a guilty pleasure. Um, the next up would be Kendrick W. I Love Bond, excellent storyline with a perfect score. Now we got a 3 out of 5 stars. So that'd be a 6. It wraps up a Daniel Craig James Bond saga very well. The action scenes are cool as to be expected. I thought the plot was weak. What did you think of that?
Well, the plot wasn't weak. I just think, look, you put a stronger villain, you have a stronger story, just like Hitchcock said. So that's what was my only concern. The rest, um, yeah, I didn't mind it. It was good.
The final comment before we go. Wayne, 1 star. So that'd be a 1 out of 10. That's a hard one. Yes, they are trying to end 007 movie line, and I agree with that. So overall, people liked No Time to Die for some reason, and they hated Spectre. Um,
Yeah.
I'm in the bandwagon. I thought Spectre was a better ending, but a worse movie, and I didn't like either. I miss Casino Royale and Skyfall. These are some of the top tier James Bond.
Yeah.
Uh, and in the other end, we got like No Time to Die and Spectre that are right down there, rock bottom, alongside Die Another Day from Pierce Brosnan. That's universally known as the worst James Bond.
Yeah.
So side by side. Anyway, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
What?
So do you have any plan? Like, do you appear on other podcasts? Do you write stuff? Do you do videos? Do you do critique? What are you doing?
Okay. I usually write screenplays, produce films, and my goal is to have a career as a film director. So I'm working on it. And if anybody want to know my page, I'll send it to you. It's Cine Fidali for reviewing, and I have also an Instagram called The Seven Artist. So
So send me the link. I will place it in the description so people can find you.
yeah, I will. I will. Look, I really need to go. I'm sorry, because
Yeah, all
I
good.
have a film. I need to be
Yeah.
there in like 20 minutes.
Have a good one, man. Talk to you
Sorry, yeah.
soon. Take care.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you a lot for today.
Thank you for joining, man. Have a
Thank
great
you.
one.
Have a good day. Nice seeing you.
Yeah. So, this is the outro now, you guessed it. What happens next on the channel? Well, Wednesday, I don't know if I will be streaming because I want to record some videos for the gaming channel and the Master Camby channel as well. With that being said, Thursday, we talk about Daredevil Born Again, and hopefully I will feel and sound more professional, and that's the plan. And Friday, we talk about something, we react to things, and I have no idea what we will be reacting to because the dragon is in charge of that department. With that being said, next Monday, the Michael movie will have a review over here on this channel. Yes. Next Tuesday, we talk, I believe, about Loki season 1 and 2, I think. Or This Is Agatha All Along in WandaVision. I can't remember which one of these two, but it's a Disney Plus TV show we are talking about next week. And we also have some gaming. The original Splinter Cell, we want to get through the game, hopefully before the new James Bond video game comes out, so we can do a full playthrough of that James Bond First Light. So on this channel, gaming, reviews, movies, discussion, podcast, reaction, you got everything you can ask for with this. Thank you for watching this quite unique stream where in the middle of it, we were trying to get someone on the podcast. With this, well, you know what to do if you want more. And hopefully you will want more. Have a great one and take care.
Yeah, Red Blue Podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean? The Red Blue Podcast. Come check the scene. Movies old and new, know what I mean?